It's the big story, Thursday, December 5, 2024. Welcome along. Smart Uzechi is my name. You can join me live on Instagram at Captain Smart 007. If you go to our website, www.ifm923.com, on our Facebook page, Inspiration 92.3 FM, you can watch or listen to us live. When we open the phone lines in just a moment, you can call us at that time, 0700 923 923 923, or send messages to us on WhatsApp, 0817 313 6193. We want to hear from you. As we welcome the big man, Osumili, he's got the big story. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning to you, Captain. I'm glad to be here for the big story this Thursday. Smart, we'll look at the Dele Farotimi affair, if you like. Some have said the trials of Brother Dele. We'll look at that today on the big story and see what people are talking about it, especially the Nigerian Bar Association, the NBA, since Dele Farotimi was arrested, arraigned in Ado Ekiti, and has now been remanded at the prison in the Ekiti state capital. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has been on to that one. He has made his comments about this. We'll talk about it. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last elections, Mr. Peter Obi, also have his views on this arrest, arraignment, and remand of the lawyer Dele Farotimi. We'll get all of that. And of course, Amnesty International. But then we'll go to the crux of the matter too. Why was Dele arrested? Why was he detained? And indeed, why has he been arraigned? We'll talk about all of that, the big story today. Because this time, it is not the government. Dele is a very well-known human rights lawyer, very vocal critic of the government in power. Even before the elections, pre-elections, he was a critic. But this time, it wasn't the government that Mr. Dele Farotimi has an issue with. It is a private citizen, the respected legal icon, Chief Afe Babalola. If you know Afe Babalola very well, one of Nigeria's great legal luminaries, they have a rift between them. Chief Afe Babalola wrote a petition to the police in Ekiti State, in Ado Ekiti. He's alleging criminal defamation by Dele Farotimi. Let me give you a background to this development. Farotimi wrote a book. He called it Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. In that book, he talked about Afe Babalola and insinuated that Babalola exerts pressure over the Supreme Court. He was talking about a situation where a lawyer gives orders to judges, and he referred to Babalola. In fact, he talked about it by himself. Let's start the show today by taking you way back to when Mr. Farotimi just wrote the book, and one of the incidents in the book he referred to by himself.
I'm saying that Afe Babalola corrupted the judiciary, and in corrupting the judiciary, it came across my practice. When I came across it, I challenged it as a lawyer, and I fought it to the point where he could not enjoy the fruit of his exertion in the Supreme Court. In writing the letter that he wrote to the then Chief Justice of Lagos State, Ayomide Philip, he libeled me, and I sued him for libel. And when I sued for libel, the machines of corruption went into overdrive, and a case that should never have been killed at the preliminary stage was killed. If Afe Babalola was the only person who is licensed to enjoy that level of impunity, that's different. It's not about him. It's a system-wide problem. You simply can't get justice from the system.
Yeah, so on the basis of that book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, Afe Babalola wrote a petition to the police. He's asking the police to arrest Mr. Farotimi and get him to court, and is also asking that hard copies of the book are confiscated and destroyed. These are part of the issues in the petition written by Mr. Afe Babalola. So the police in Ado Ekiti, they came to Lagos. They arrested Mr. Dele Farotimi. They took him to Ado Ekiti and they took him to court. A magistrate listened to the matter and adjourned, and also refused bail and ordered that Mr. Dele Farotimi is remanded at a prison in Ado Ekiti. All of this, Mr. Farotimi has already anticipated, because earlier in the week, I think on Monday, he called the press conference in Lagos, and then he said his life was under threat. Let's listen to him at that press conference preceding his arrest. This press conference took place this last Monday.
It came to my knowledge that there is a charge that has been fraudulently preferred against me before a court in Ekiti State at the instance of Chief Afe Babalola. This charge had been fraudulently preferred, hidden from view, and the court had purportedly demanded my presence multiple times, and I had failed to appear before this court. And this court had then proceeded to issue a bench warrant for my arrest. This is classic Afe Babalola. I detailed his corruptive influence in my book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. And what he has done is exactly what he has always done in hiding, but he has done it this time again. And the calculations were that I would have been picked up, taken before this judge who must have either been compromised or misled in Ekiti, and I would have been remanded in prison custody for being somebody who was meant to face trial and who had refused to bring himself to court. I am reliably informed that social media influencers had been paid to spin these narratives after my arrest. Human rights activists have been positioned to start speaking after my arrest, including one Agbaya. High offices in this country have been compromised in pursuit of my person. High offices, from the Inspector General's office, because the police have been subverted. The Attorney General of the Federation needs to examine himself because his office has been somehow linked to this as well. I do not know if the presidency is directly involved in this, and I will not make frivolous charges. But high offices have been subverted in pursuit of a criminal purpose. I have committed no crime, done nothing wrong. If I have committed any wrong for which the state requires my attendance in a court or at a police station, they know exactly where I live. I will live only once. I will not live cowering to any man. Let us be clear. If and when I have a charge to answer before a court, you all know where I live. I'm not hiding, and I'm not running away from anybody. Let us be very clear about that. I will never run away from Nigeria. We all have to pretend that we are in a democracy, and we have to pretend that we are citizens, and we have to pretend that we are a country ruled by law. And by all means, you will pretend that we are. I have done nothing. And if I have a charge that should be preferred against me, bring it on. I'm happy to come to court to have my day. If there is a crime, there must be justice not only for the person who is aggrieved. There must be justice for the accused. And there must also be justice for the system. This is not how to build a rule-based system, where the system itself becomes so criminal that policemen were engaged in criminality.
Smart. The reactions, a flurry of reactions, really. Let's start with the NBA. The NBA says it's deeply concerned by the arrest of Farotimi on allegations of libel. The NBA went on to say, while we recognize the powers of the police to arrest and investigate crimes, we firmly believe that such powers must be exercised within the confines of the law and in respect of offenses known to law. It is in this context that we oppose the arrest of Dele Farotimi on allegations of libel, which is not recognized as a criminal offense under the laws of Lagos State. The Criminal Law of Lagos State 2011 repealed the criminalization of defamation by omitting it from its provisions. Previously, defamation was criminalized under the criminal code applicable in southern Nigeria. However, Lagos State modernized its criminal law framework through the enactment of the 2011 law, aligning with global best practices that treats defamation as a civil wrong, not a criminal offense. This statement was signed by the president of the NBA, Afam Osigwe, and he says here, the NBA unequivocally demands the immediate release of Dele Farotimi and calls on the Nigerian police to exercise its powers responsibly and strictly in accordance with the law. We also urge all law enforcement agencies to prioritize respect for human rights and adherence to the principles of legality. NBA. This is president of the NBA, Mr. Afam Osigwe, writing this statement. Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, I told you, also reacted to this. Let me run you through what Mr. Atiku Abubakar said in his own reaction. Quickly, he said here, Atiku Abubakar was saying here that the arrest and detention of Farotimi is condemned. It serves as a grim reminder of the dark days of the military dictatorship with the iron fist of tyranny that sought to crush all dissent. I am made aware that Dele is being accused of defamation, an offense that under normal circumstances should not warrant the involvement of law enforcement. The police intervention in such matters is nothing less than the use of a sledgehammer to swat a fly, an overreach of unimaginable proportions. Atiku ended his statement by saying that he signed this one A.A. Smart, so it's directly from him, not from Paul. He said freedom of speech and association are not privileges, but constitutionally enshrined rights. If anyone feels wronged by defamation,